ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited to kick off our orientation webinar series, as well as welcome you all to the Case Western Reserve University community and get things started with the orientation process for our new students starting this spring. We are super excited to have you join us. So we'll start off with just some introductions of the folks that are on this panel from the university today, and then we'll dive into our content for today. So my name is Kathy Petrus. I am the Director of Orientation at Case Western Reserve University, and we're super excited to have you here. So I'll let the rest of our team introduce themselves.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Dave Vale, and I'm the Assistant Director in our Office of Orientation.
Hello, I'm Allison Hoopengartner, and I'm the other Assistant Director in the office.
Hi everyone, my name is Nandana. I am a current third year at CWRU, and I am double majoring in medical anthropology and history and philosophy of science with minors in chemistry and biology on the pre-med track, and I'm an orientation leader.
All right, thank you everyone. So as we go through the webinar,
we've got Mira too.
Oh, Mira's here. Sorry, she wasn't showing on my screen. I'm so sorry, Mira. Introduce yourself.
Okay, Kathy. Hello, I'll be okay. My name is Mira. I use she, her pronouns. I am a second year majoring in nursing and minoring in public health and social work. And I'm also an orientation leader.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so as we go along through our webinar, I just wanted to let you know that there is a question and answer function. So if you do have questions as we go, our team can answer those through that chat function, and we can also share those out loud. So, and then we will have time at the end to answer any questions. So both from the staff side of things with myself, Dave and Allison, but also we have two great student perspectives as well to talk about the orientation experience. So we will go ahead and dive in. All right. So an overview of what we're going to cover today. We already did our introductions and welcome, so we can check that one right off. We're going to talk about our new student orientation process, which includes our spring roadmap, our webinar series, and Discover Days, which is our in-person programming. We're going to talk about parent and family sessions and events that we have available, and then some current student advice, answers to some of your questions from Nandana and Mira. So, all right. So the new student orientation process, first section, like we said, will be the spring roadmap, which kicked off last week. So hopefully all of you that are students on this call have already started to dive in and get those tasks completed. Our email went out again tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, and more items have opened up on the roadmap for you to complete as well. So making sure that you're staying on top of that. The second piece here is the webinar series, which is mainly geared towards our parents and family members of students starting this January, but we also have some webinars that will be coming up for our new students as well. And then third, as I mentioned, is our Discover Days program. So once you arrive on campus, we have a few days of programming designed to help you in your transition to CWRU. All right, so your roadmap, which you should have been looking at, and if you haven't, you better go do it right after this webinar, is information and tasks that you need to complete before arriving on campus. So some of those items are related to course registration, other items are related to if you plan to live on campus, and all the things that you need before arrival. And so make sure that you pay attention to the deadlines and pay attention to those tasks as you go along, because they will be important for you to complete. You'll see here, this is just an example of that first initial block. And so links will go live when an item is available. So you'll see that both in your e-newsletter, the FYI, and then you'll see that also through your portal. So the applicant portal that you used to apply to the university is the same place where you'll complete all of these items. Parents and family members, you can look on our website and see this information as well and see what tasks need to be complete without having to sign in like the students do. There are some items that are, if applicable, as highlighted here. So if you are not designated to take the math placement, you will not see that on your student portal as an item to be completed. But as we go through the next few months prior to your arrival, you will see things linked and live when each item is available, which happens on Thursdays, except for course registration, which does not fall on a Thursday in that time frame. So a couple things have already launched, and so making sure you do that. So first and foremost, upload that photo for your case ID. That is essential because that's also required for you to do the housing application, and the housing application will open up next Thursday. Some of the roadmap items do take maybe 2 or 3 days to complete. So if you don't see a green check mark right away, don't panic, because we do report check things off, some of them as kind of like a batch all at once. And so we'll get a report, upload those things. I would say if it's still been a little while and you don't see it, you can definitely contact our office and we can look into that for you. Then if you have any housing questions, again, like I said, the housing application does open next week, and you'll see soon that we do have a housing webinar for everybody. So you can pay attention to that, and that will happen in mid-November. And then sometimes items are not available until 7 p.m. when you get your newsletter. So if you see something and maybe can't access it, it's because it's set to go live at a certain time. But we do try to be very clear about that in our newsletters to let you know if perhaps something doesn't open until a certain time frame, so that you're not worried about it all day. But generally by 7 p.m. on those Thursdays, you'll see items open as scheduled. And I've mentioned this a couple times, but the FYI newsletter. So this is every week, 7 p.m. Eastern. You should check your Case Western Reserve email and read your newsletter. So beyond the tasks that you may need to be completing on your roadmap, we also have a lot of helpful information, some fun videos featuring orientation leaders, advice from orientation leaders, and just helpful information about the university that you should read up upon before you arrive. The parents or guardians, you will also be copied on the FYI through this orientation process. If you're not receiving the email, your student must email admission@case.edu with a request to add your information. So this is basically students, whoever you kind of tied to your account when you were applying, that's where those emails will go. So if emails need to be updated or added, the request does need to come from the student. So students, check with your families or guardians, make sure that they're receiving the email as well. And if you do need to update anything, you can definitely email the admission office and they will get you added to their account. But you can also see all of the articles archived on our website and be able to access those as well. All right. So the webinar series, as I mentioned, this is mainly for parents and families as a way for you to gain information and understanding about various departments on campus, resources that are available to your student, and get questions answered before they arrive on campus. So we're going to run through the various webinars that we have. Registration for these webinars will come to you via email this upcoming Monday, October 23rd. And so we'll send you a link to all of the webinars and you can register for what you're interested in. And we will have recordings of these webinars again on our website should you not be able to attend certain webinars. So these webinars are going to flow from October through January, and it aligns with the roadmap that the students are following. So we tried to pick similar topics to what your students may be experiencing and completing on the roadmap. All right, so in October, first one here is preparing for CWRU. So if you're here, you've already checked one off the list for yourselves. Coming up also in October are managing crew finances. So the offices of University Financial Aid and Student Financial Services will be available and guiding you through information relating to any aid, billing, all of those items related to finances and the university. That's actually, if you want to mark your calendar now, happening on October 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then also on October 25th at 5 p.m. Eastern, we will have staff from our Disability Resources Office to talk about accommodations, if your student would need accommodations and the process for that. That is actually an item that was released on the roadmap last week. So if you do think that you need any sort of accommodations while you're at Case Western, especially any classroom accommodations, make sure that you submit information through their office so that they can make sure that those accommodations are met for you. Then in November, we have a whole bunch of webinars happening. So that first one at the top, registration 101 for students. So you will see in your FYI newsletter soon the opportunity to register for registration 101. And so that is hosted by our undergraduate advising support office. You should have all received an email on October 11th with the name of your four-year advisor. If you did not get that email, please definitely reach out to our office and we can make sure that you are connected. But an email should have been received on that Wednesday with the name of your four-year advisor, and you should be working to set up a time to chat with that advisor because they're the ones that are going to help you register for classes later in November for your first semester at CWRU. The second webinar, the rest of these webinars are mainly geared towards our parents and families, at least the next four. So campus services at your service is dealing with dining plans, information about car sharing and things along those lines. So if you're interested in attending that webinar, that will happen in November. We also have our student safety, security, and support in the CWR community. So our public safety office, student conduct, and our Flora Stone Mather Center will be available to share information about student safety on our campus. Support students' culture and identity is a joint effort from the Flora Stone Mather Center, the LGBT Center, and our Office for Multicultural Affairs. Then we have Wellness at CRU, University Health and Counseling Services. So especially if you're interested in learning about wellness programs at the university, maybe you have questions about medical care, insurance, and things along those lines. So the staff from University Health and Counseling Services will be able to answer all of those questions for you. And then that last one there in our November time slot is the Living on Campus webinar about the residential experience, and then move in that will happen in January. And so students, you'll be encouraged to join the Living on Campus webinar just so that you can understand the process as well. In December, we also have a few more webinars. So we have academic support resources for students. So this department works with our peer tutoring, supplemental instruction, and various ways to support you academically. And so they will share information on their resources. Advising at CRU will be about the advising process and understanding your four-year advisor, as well as the process for your pre-major faculty advisor, who you will meet in January. And so they will walk you through that process so that you understand the folks available to help you on your academic career path, choosing your major, and all of those items. And then the last one in December will be the Dean of Students. And so talking about care management and support for your student while they are a student at Case Western Reserve University. And then we do have a few more in January. These will all happen after the Discover Days experience, once students have started their time at the university. But we do encourage you to join these webinars. So Learn by Doing is our experiential education webinar. So talking about internship, research, co-ops, all of those things. If any of you are pre-med, We have pre-med pathways at CRU. So our associate director of pre-med and pre-health advising will be available to answer questions about pre-med pathways. We have a student activities and leadership program, so understanding how your student gets involved in what is available to them. And then study abroad redefined. So if you're interested at all in pursuing a study abroad experience, staff from their department will be available to answer those questions and talk about the various types of programs that we offer at Case Western Reserve. So I know that was a lot, so I will again remind you that we will have registration for all of those webinars for parents and families available on Monday. We'll be sending an email out to let you register officially, and we will also post that information on our website in our parent and family resources. So there will be multiple ways for you to be able to access the information and register for those events. And then, as I mentioned, we will post recordings and copies of slides on our website in our resources section as well within 2 to 3 days after those webinars so that you can access that information. All right. So Discover Days is our in-person experience, and we are always super excited to welcome new students as well as their families to our campus. It is always an exciting time for us, whether that happens in August or January, and it's always fun to see new faces and get you all very excited to start classes. So our January Discover Days program does start on Wednesday, January 10th. And that is move-in day. So most of the day is focused on move-in, but we do have evening programs at 4 p.m. To welcome you all to the university. And so you will see more specific details about that in our Discover Days schedule, which should be posted in the next few weeks. And again, we'll share that information through the FYI newsletter. We do have programming for parents and families on the 10th through the 11th. So opportunities for you to engage. And then as you can see on our chart here that new students programming will go through the 13th. And the first day of classes is Tuesday, January 16th. And so you'll get ready to start that first day of class. So Discover Days is required for all of our incoming, new, and transfer undergraduate students. During this time, you'll meet fellow classmates and returning students serving as your orientation leaders. You'll become acquainted with campus and your residence hall community, or with the commuter and off-campus student community, which is very active, and will help you learn about CWRU resources and opportunities. And we'll have all of those schedules available to you on our website. Discover Days Parent and Family Program. So we do have the Parent and Family Welcome with members of our staff on Wednesday, January 10th. And then on Thursday, January 11th, we have an information fair. And so that's when we have many of our campus departments available to answer questions and, do those kind of things. We will have our university welcome, which is our official welcome from the administration at the university. And then we will have some time for parents and families to meet and greet with one another, as well as faculty and staff from the university. And we will have a student panel, so an opportunity for you to engage with several of our orientation leaders and ask them any questions that you may have about the student experience at our university. And so we wanted, provide for you all the information through the webinars. And then if you have certain departments or certain business that you need to take care of while you're at the university, you will have time on those 2 days to take care of information and get any final questions answered. All right. So our meals provided for students throughout Discover Days, and we will have some meals provided for families while they are here. So that information will be on our schedule when it's available. And so students, when you check in, you will be given a card for you to be able to use in meals and things like that. So don't worry that your meal plan hasn't started. The meal plan will officially start on that Sunday. So we'll make sure that meals are taken care of up until that point. Parents can find travel information online and be able to see the hotel information and preferred hotels that the university uses. And then if you are looking to send items prior to your arrival, university housing will begin accepting packages 1 week prior to arrival. You will know your housing assignment late in December, and then you would get an address where you can send that information to. But our housing webinar will have more detailed information about